Hello and welcome to Born to Win. My name is Barbara Allen and today we're going to be talking about relationships. We're going to be talking about how to have a healthy relationship. Whilst men crave respect, women crave to be heard, to be listened to. I'm going to be giving you 7 points of how things can become a lot more manageable in your relationship and allows you to feel a lot more content and have a lot more understanding about each other. I mentioned men crave respect whilst women want to be heard. Women are very emotional. We're quite emotional beings. It's about nurturing. It's about what we feel we talk about, where men are very logical thinkers. In terms of logical thinking, in their brain, they go from A to Z. So it's step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. That's how they function. That's how their mind works. With a woman, we use the left and the right brain. So we go back and forward, back and forward, back and forward. We're able to multitask. We're able to do lots of different things where men are unable to do that. So it's about differences. It's about understanding differences between men and women. That gives you a better understanding of why they think the way they think, men, and why women think the way they think. The first point I'm going to be talking to you about is finances. Okay, with your husband, whoever is better at finances, let them pay the bills. If you struggle with finances, you're the one that's a shopaholic, or the one that's always overspending, or the one that's not keeping to the budget, then obviously you have a problem with finances. So that must be something that you give to your partner in order for them to have for bills to get paid and for things to flow within the relationship. So be mindful and be honest about who is the better person with the finances if that is causing a problem. The second point I want to look at is about sex. Sex is something that you should not be withholding from your husband, or you should not be holding that from your wife. The Bible says our body is the temple of God. So when you become one and join together and become married, your body belongs to your husband and your husband's body belongs to you because you become one. So, for some of you, it's not about a headache every night. Every night there's a headache. Make time for each other. That's a very important part of your relationship. If you are facing problems around that area, it could be because you have a deep rooted issue. And that is something that you may need further counseling for. And, there are people out there, there are psychotherapists that will help you through that situation. But that is something that you should not be denying each other from. The third point I want to talk to you about is make time to talk to each other. Yes, you've got the children running around, you've got the children demanding your time, but you didn't marry your child. You married your partner, you married each other. So make time for each other. And that could be once a week, you sit down at the table and you talk about your concerns. You talk about what you don't like, what each other are doing, but you make that time to do these things. You either schedule it in your diary, schedule it away from the children, but very important to make time to talk to each other. The fourth point I want to make to you is don't criticize each other. Very, 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 very easy. I'm not saying it's women. I'm not just saying it's the males, but make time. Don't criticize each other. Very, very vital thing. When you criticize somebody, do you know psychologists say that if you criticize a child, you then have to say 5 things positive about that person, to take away the criticism that you have said to them. So try your best. Try your best not to keep saying bad things about each other. Yes, if he's left the top off the toothpaste, so what? If he's left the toilet lid up, so what? If your wife has left her slippers in the middle of the floor, so what? If she's not always presentable, so what? You need to stop criticizing each other. There are different ways that things are said. If you can put the lid back on the toothpaste, do it. If you can quickly move those slippers, do it. But the thing is, work yourself. Find a way not to criticize each other, because when you start criticizing each other, people then believe that what you've said about them, that's who they are. Then that diminishes the relationship. It gets worse and worse. The next point is point 5, and it's about interrupting. And I think we've got to be very, very careful of this, about interrupting each other. It's very difficult in cases for some people to remember what they've said once they're being interrupted, because then they have to get their thoughts again together once they're in a flow. And I think this really pertains to males, and especially when males get to a certain age. Do not interrupt. Let your partner finish what they're saying. That's just a form of respect, allowing them to say what they're saying in a respectable manner. As long as it's in a respectable manner, that's something, you know, it's a good thing. So don't interrupt each other. Listen respectfully of what each other has to say. The next point I'd like to look at is choosing the right time. Now, for women, as soon as your husband gets through that front door, I'm talking about myself. You want to tell him every single thing that's happened throughout the day. The children were playing up, the cat jumped out the window, the electricity, whatever it may be. Be mindful. When somebody's done a hard day's work, they've come in, they need that time to unwind. I actually know what it's like on the other side of doing a hard day work when I was a school teacher, out there all day, constantly having to be go, 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 then coming home and then having to deal with housework and other things, and having somebody say, this isn't done, that's not done. Very, very difficult. And all you want to do is think, go away and leave me alone. Be mindful. Give them a bit of time. Give people a bit of space. Choose your right time to say what you want to say to your partner, because if not, that could totally go against you. Because if they've had a hard day themselves, having to deal with you, then it's too much for anybody to cope with. So very, very important. Be mindful and choose the right time to talk to each other. In marriages, it can get quite boring, especially when you've been married for a long time. But you know what? What you have got to do in order to make it work is remember the things that you did when you were courting. I've heard a lot of people come through my office and say to me, oh, I'm not in love anymore. I want to get out of this relationship. Why? Why? I'm not in love anymore, they say. But this is a person that you met 20 years, 5 years, 10 years ago. Obviously something attracted you to the person. So all you need to do is bring that back. Bring that back. Maybe you used to go pictures, cinema rather. Or maybe you used to go to the Wimpy, or whatever it was, that nice restaurant, whatever it was. Those are the things that you did. Just go back there. Go back there. And that will bring joy and happiness in your life. If you are encountering any problems in relationships, please do not hesitate to phone the number on the screen. somebody will be there to talk to you about your challenges. Bye for now.